Hello folks, this is Steve A.B. for you. I just came in from my heart health trot at Riverside Park up the Faith Rock Trail. It's a beautiful, cool, not cold, cool fall afternoon here on the 2nd of October 2023. Turn on my computer. Now you know nothing in this episode is a promotion nor is a recommendation. Nothing interesting at slashdot.org. But you know, when I look, see, I like this drawing. It has to do with the Iranians. But you know, when you hear about, a couple of days ago, a hacker group was boasting that they had broken into Boeing, Boeing aircraft, making like the B-52 bombers, well, whatever they make now. I'm thinking of when I was a kid and lived about 20, 30 miles from a Strategic Air Command base, I used to see B-52s coming in and going out. So Boeing confirmed cyber attack system compromise. Now my point of this is, this sort of thing is kind of distant, isn't it? Yeah, just days after Lockbit ransomware group claimed it breached the systems of Boeing, the aerospace giant has confirmed its systems were indeed compromised. But, that's... But, when I looked at Bleeping Computer, what's right there? Ace Hardware. Well, that's a little closer to something I can touch. Ace Hardware says 1,202 devices were hit during cyber attack. This was posted a half hour ago. Now, this is a write-up by somebody who's seen an announcement. We all know what that is. Ace Hardware confirmed that a cyber attack is preventing local stores and customers from placing orders as the company works to restore 196 servers. Ace Hardware is a hardware store, retailer owned, cooperative. So your local store is locally owned, or several stores in an area are owned by the same company/owner, and they all cooperate with a system above it, right? That operates 17 distribution centers in 5,700 shops across the United States. Oh, China, Panama, and the UAE. They employ 12,500 people, and it's a $9 billion business gross. You gotta, but still, it's the neighborhood hardware store. Now, this is interesting. I'm just reading this for the first time. Reports of a cybersecurity incident impacting the entity. Some of this stuff must be like, they pick it up, surfaced over Reddit on Monday. This is Thursday, where someone posted the content of Ace's notice to retailers about a cyber attack that occurred over the weekend. So somebody on the inside spilled the beans. You know Reddit, don't you? I'm not promoting anything. Mallet and Grease is the online name. Looks like Ace Corp was hit with something. We've business with some franchise All right, so this is somebody that somehow services several Ace Hardware store locations. We have, this is the first time I'm reading it, we've business with some franchises. Boss asked to keep tabs on our client stuff, but there's not enough details for anything actionable. And then, of course, they go through the usual thing. We hired some outside experts to help us figure out what. Instead of teaching kids to code in grade school and on, why not just teach them cybersecurity instead? There'll be much more use for that. Trust me. So, as a result of this incident, many of our key operating systems, including AceNet, A-C-E-N-E-T, our warehouse management systems, that's the distribution, the trailer truck pulls up once a week or whatever to unload the merchandise you've ordered for the store to replenish. Think of the big box stores. You see the trucks pulling into the parking lot. The Ace Retailer Mobile Assistant, hut sheets, invoices. What are invoices? Well, I'm telling you what I sent you and you owe me this. Ace Rewards, that would probably touch you and me. And Care Center phone system, so you can't call on the phone and say, this thing is broken right out of the box, have been interrupted or suspended. Scheduled deliveries are adversely impacted and retailers are requested to refrain. Retailers, that's the local store, are requested to refrain from placing additional orders for now, as those cannot be processed. Google search. Let's do it. Ace Hardware. Let's go to the main site. Now let's get rid of the cookie notice. I'm not interested in telling them where I am, but I can see a banner. If they were hit, how come they still have the website? Because the website would be on something like Amazon Web Services or Azure at Microsoft. They wouldn't be running it from their place. That's not the invoicing system. The invoicing systems may have been, from their description, that may have been in their actual headquarters, as opposed to out on, let's say, Amazon Web Services when they let it run out there, or was it out there and somebody broke into it? But it says somebody, when they name how many devices, it just suggests that it actually happened in their headquarters physical IT plant. I'm reading between the lines. We're currently unable to process orders online. Need it now? Visit your local Ace store, if it's on the shelf. Oh, there it is. You see the shopping cart? It's the first time I'm doing this. You have no items in your cart, but there's an additional message. Unfortunately, we are currently unable to process orders online. Need it now? Visit your local Ace store. So let me just put in all right, now, a map came up. Who figured that out? They're just looking at the packets coming from my browser, and they can at least figure out what state and which part of a state my ISP is uploading it out to the greater interconnection. let me see, what's the closest one to me? Now we know I'm in Asheboro. And there's Asheboro with a blue. Oh, they know I'm in Asheboro. Even though I said, see, Ace Hardware wants, they're asking me again. And all I did was kill it. So however this is being done, they're figuring it out anyway behind my back. So they're saying the closest one might be Siler City Hardware. And it's on East Raleigh Street. That's, now, right out here is US 64. That way, eastward, toward Raleigh, 20 miles, Siler City. They always mention that in the Andy. That's US 64, and that also has a local name, but it's not Raleigh Street. This store would be in downtown Siler City, and I'm trying to think of the last time I actually went downtown in Siler City. It might be 10 years. The business is along 64. So why don't we see where it is? Oh, that's interesting. Look how they did that. Now, it's a 919 area code, so it's, if I highlight that, I can't copy it. So that's not useful. Google search. That's interesting. This is the first time I'm doing this. That's interesting. August 2023. It's not like this is 5 years old. That's why I looked down to see when they did this. 111 East. Let me make sure we got it right. No. Oh! Wow. Excuse me. I got the wrong address. It's pointing me at 111, and I need 119. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I didn't see it. Look over here. Look over here. Oh, there it is. There it is. And you can go in the side, and they got a nice big parking lot. Why would they have a big parking lot like that? Because at some time there was another building here, and it was torn down. Okay, they're good. Now, oh, this is interesting. Now, you're seeing downtown Siler City. I'm going to make a comment about it. Just looking at, even though they're refurbished a bit, this building was built way after 1900. This building was built somewhere back around 1900. Now let's take a look at downtown Siler City. Actually, it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? I'm doing this for a reason. We look at the brickwork, we look at the architecture, we look at the way it's done. This set of buildings was built easily around 1900. But something's been torn down and replaced with modern, got it? So I just want you to see what downtown Siler City is, because you know they would go, right? They would go into Siler City every now and then on the Andy Show. And here's Ace Hardware. You can see it there, but let's look at what they did. I think it's interesting. It's sort of off the track. Now this edition is new, but we can tell by the style of the windows and them boarding this up. I'm guessing they made the front of the store kind of like the warehouse part? That's a guess. Let's look at the front entrance. Let's look at this filigree up here. And, oh, look at this, just so that you can be sure you know where you are coming along, Ace Parking. So in other words, where there was a building before, one of the things that killed downtowns in smaller cities and towns was what? When this was laid out and built, it was horse and carriage, followed by trolleys. Most people didn't own a car. My father got his first car as a young man in 1928. How many people do you think during the Depression owned a car? So even if this was built in the Depression area, they would still build it like this with very little opportunity for parking on the street. But what happens after the Second World War when people have all those wartime factory job savings and the car companies can't keep up with building 1949 Fords as fast as they can? My first car. So people are building houses out and they have to have cars. The trolleys don't run out there. They might have a bus that runs locally. That's why there's along major highways where they could go out and build big parking lots next to the stores. That's where all the business activity is. I'm just explaining. So they've got a mural on there. It looks interesting. The mural, it looks like the inside of the way the hardware store was, or their fantasy about the way it is. We don't know what, let's see if we can go into the parking lot. We can't. So here's what they, now it's a really large building. This may have been a hardware store when I was a kid, but not Ace Hardware. It also was probably owned by a local family. The part of the store where you would come in and buy the nail, we used to go in and like they had bins of nails, screws and stuff like that. Those are just a separate aisle when you go to but you go in there and right up front it would be the kinds of things that people might use at home. And that's why the store looks like this, but I'm thinking of the one in my hometown. But after the first 30 feet, but the building was way deeper than that, like this one. And it was all of the warehousing of the bigger stuff that people would buy, like shingles for their house, to have the shingles done, or gutters, or where you would get the animal feed for the people who come in from the farms. And it would be in a building like this kind of dimension. So what I'm saying is this probably was a hardware store location for a really long time, and it is currently Ace Hardware, and it might very well be owned by the very same people who owned it 50 and 75 years ago as a locally owned name store. Who knows? It'd be part of the city, Siler City. So remember what I said about the parking. So all right, now let's go back and let's go store details. Oh, we just hit another thing they can't do. We just hit another thing they can't do. What did I do? For this one, I clicked on store details, and what does it do? It takes me to the top of the page, and what does it say? We can't tell you about that right now. Now, I just clicked in there. This is still It says, what can we help you find? I presume that if I wanted shingles, I could write shingles in there, but maybe this is what they do, or maybe it's broken. I'm going to put in shingles, roofing shingles. We are currently unable to process orders online. Go to a local store. However, they're able to come up with some items and they can give you prices. Now, why would they be able to do this? Now, it says here, okay, it's 5:24. It says that the store will, in Siler City will open at 8 a.m. Finishing nails. Okay, so the part of the system that might be able to give you suggestions, but look at finishing nails, they're showing me the bang, 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 bang. And here's the nails down here. And there's a, so the catalog is working. And it says that these items that they're showing are in stock at Siler City Hardware. All right? And I'm not making fun of Ace Hardware's problems. You're going to be seeing even more of this. That's why I say, why bother to teach kids how to code? Start teaching them about how to hack, at least by junior high. Because that's where the real skill needs are going to be. And why is that? Now I'm going to do a little editorial. When the internet was designed, I've said this before, when the internet was designed, in order to simplify what they were doing, they made the assumption that everybody was honest and an academic, because all the protocols were developed under what's called ARPANET, and it was basically a communication system like the pre-internet between American and European universities. The protocols for the are all still in use and form the backbone down deep, but nothing about security was part of the design. Nothing! So all of the security now has to be add-on icing on the cake, and maybe there's enough, and maybe you'll be able to save the cake. Maybe. Except the hackers keep finding new ways because the guts underneath have no actual, what I'll call, authentication mechanism. So they just keep finding different ways to break in. Ditto for the software that companies, ta-da! Our product is so incredible, until the hackers find all the holes. Steve AB4L is talking about, unfortunately, what's happening to Ace Hardware right now. And for the number of devices they're talking about, it's clear it's their actual servers and databases to some extent, affecting not their ability to tell you what's in a store, which will, as days pass, become out of date, but for the actual distribution system itself. And if they can't pump the ammunition to the stores, so to speak, the stores will have to close once their shelves are empty, unless they can get this fixed before that happens. And all the trucks in the warehouses might as well just deliver the most current order they had before the weekend, that arrive before the weekend, and besides that, furlough them. Steve A. before you. I'm really sorry about this. I'm thinking of the Ace Hardware stores in Raleigh that I used to go to. And yes, they were family-owned businesses saying, see you in 73.